Trump Club here in Marion County. Thank you for those that are participating. Thank you for Glenn and his leadership. And certainly thank you for those that have come to speak to us today. May you guide them and direct them as you do ourselves. And we thank you for these things in Christ's precious name. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We've got a little housekeeping to take care of, and then we'll get started with learning about the candidates. I'm going to ask one more time for a recording secretary and a co-secretary. It may be 10 sentences is all you need to get out of a meeting. But I'm going to ask for that person, someone to be our recording secretary. We have to have someone do that, and you need to attend every meeting. If you can't attend a meeting, that's why I thought of a co-chair. So the two of you can work it out to be our recording secretary. I don't want to see all the hands up at one time, but the club needs someone to do this.
How often does the club meet?
About twice a month, sir.
Usually on Saturdays?
Usually on Saturdays, same time, location may be a little different. This is where you live the furthest out.
Yeah, we're over there on Southwest, down by Pine Run. Where's the other location?
We may meet at Ocala Police Department because it's free.
Downtown?
And also
downtown.
the library on the side at 60th.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Freedom.
Freedom Library at 60th.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's closer to home.
Close to our church over
Yes,
there on
sir.
60th Avenue.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. I don't think I can do it every or twice a month. I have other obligations. I wish I could.
How about a co-chair with you that when you can't make it, the co-chair can make it and vice versa?
Was there anybody else that's willing to step up?
Who would like to be a co-chair of this?
So you're back to square one.
I will. I'll be the co-chair.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to ask for,
Yep.
I know your name, but would you please repeat it for the group?
It's Alan Jones.
We have a motion for Alan Jones to be our secretary and co-chair to be Kirsten Angel. All voting members are those who have paid their dues and are Republican.
Where would you pay your dues if you're not a Republican?
Well, you can still pay dues, you just can't vote. Yes, sir?
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you both very, very much. And if you two get in a bind, pick up the phone, give me a call, whatever, we'll track down someone else to fill in for that day. Thank
The
you.
only reason at this point it'll be a problem, every other month, on the first Saturday of the month, like it'll be the first Saturday in March, I deliver a sermon at Cambridge.
Yes.
So that happens 6 times a year, and of course that may conflict with the Saturday that you're, right now it's not a problem. So having a co-chair will help a lot.
We'll work it out.
Yeah.
We'll work it out. Yes.
What, if you're ever gonna have a reason not to be somewhere, it could be a better one than that. Thank you.
Not always.
I'm gonna, first of all, I wanna thank you for that. Do you have anything, you got something to write with, to take some minutes from?
Well, I have something to write with, but not something to write on.
Let me get you something.
Okay.
Anybody got a blank piece of paper they can give? Let me try to find something.
There's a second sign-in sheet.
You don't, yeah, why don't we do that? We'll give you the second sign-in sheet.
I got it.
Okay. This means a lot. I appreciate both of you for stepping up to the plate.
You're welcome.
One last little thing, and I had to think about this before I was going to bring it up. You know, we've all been taught not to make replies, especially when we're upset, without taking the 10-second rule. I was taught that a long time ago. I'm really mad at somebody, and I'm going to send them an email. Before I hit send, back up a little bit and count to 10. You may say, gosh, if I send this, how's that person going to react? Think about that. We may do ourselves more harm sometimes from emails. The person may have been on the fence of supporting our President Trump, and you send something that throws him way off. The reason I bring this is, the other day I received an email about the misspelling of a candidate's name. Constructive criticism is appreciated, but let's remember, we're all adults here, we're all paid the same. There's not one paid more money than me in this group. We're all paid the same, or less than me.
It's volunteer.
It's volunteers. And we can make mistakes. Boo-boos happen all the time. So I appreciate corrective criticism, but sometimes we need to rethink before we hit that send button. And especially if you're leaving here and someone says, wow, Trump, don't get in an argument with him. See, that's who I support. I support the man. He's our President of the United States. I support him prior to, and leave it at that. Otherwise, you'll be in a fight all day long. We got to call the police to break up a fight. Our next meeting is going to be in February, and it will be here again at the main library. And we have 3 candidates. One county commission candidate, Eddie Leedy, for District 4, I believe. We have Ed Wilson for school board, District 3. And I haven't got a firm commitment yet, but from Bridget Smith, State Representative District 22, which is currently with Charlie Stone. So we should have a good meeting next month.
Who is the?
That's the 10th.
Who is the third gentleman?
It's a lady, Bridget Smith.
I'm sorry?
Bridget Smith.
Bridget Smith?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And she's State Representative District 22.
Also 22, okay.
Now, with that being said, the reason that we're here is to learn about the candidates. Your voice is being picked up. It is to learn about the candidates. And what we're going to do with this format is we're going to start with the governor's race. And I asked Mr. Nathan if he didn't mind being our first candidate. And we give them 2 minutes to discuss something about themselves. You know, I love my family, this and that and the other, whatever it may be. Then I've got, for the governor's race, I have a total of 9 questions. Time allowed, I'll give 1 minute for me to ask the question, which isn't going to take a minute, and 2 minutes to reply. At the end of that, then I'll have 2 minutes again to tell us another reason why we should vote for these individuals. Or whatever they want to speak about. The main thing you want to do is get this part down so that they can mingle with you, go one-on-one. Not everybody feels comfortable asking a question. This will afford you the opportunity to meet one-on-one. I ask that we do not ever video our meetings, please.
I'm videoing the candidates. I was told that was okay.
What's the difference?
The reason is, you don't know how many people we got that want to see this fail. And this is our housekeeping, what we're doing right now.
This is a good thing to have this confidence.
I'll leave well enough alone. You've heard it from my voice, what I'm asking you to do. That's all. When we have the candidates, I want that video because we want to get that knowledge out to people so they know who to vote for. Our own little housekeeping that we have, I believe, needs to stay in the organization. That's my personal take on it. Until I can be convinced differently, that's the direction I'd like to see us go. Just think before you send something out. Now I want to get back to this again. The main thing is I want you to have time where you can discuss with the candidates later your thoughts and your concerns. So with that, I'm going to start with Governor candidate Bruce Nathan. You want to give us some 2 minutes, if you like?
You want me, I'm gonna give them a warning.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
At about a minute, when you got a minute left, and then I'll give you the red, which is, you know, basically stop. And I know some of you gentlemen were at the event in Citrus. We'll give you like, you know, a few minutes to kind of wrap up try your last sentence or two. Sound fair?
Fair.
Okay.
We ready? Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you all for having me here. My name is Bruce Nathan. I am the candidate for governor, a Republican candidate, and I'm happy to be here at this Trump Club. I thank you, Glenn, for inviting me. Very nice of you. So, the idea of being at a Trump Club is very special for me. Let me just tell you quick about my family and Trump's family. I've got 6 children. Trump's got a lot of children too, as you know. Same idea. Whole idea is that he's a candidate for the people, and that's why we voted for him. Same idea with me. Let's go back to Donald Trump. 1980s, the first time I even knew who Donald Trump was. That's how long I've known of Donald Trump. I worked for a gentleman who wanted to be just like Donald Trump. He wanted to invest in buildings like Donald Trump in the 5-borough area, and he did. And through my time with him, he ended up investing in close to 90 apartment buildings. Followed Donald Trump really well, obviously made a lot of money. And so I've never stopped being on the Donald Trump train. So when he wanted to go become president, I was all on board, 100%. And as last time
the go-around last time I ran as a no-party affiliate for the United States Senate because I did not like Marco Rubio because I felt he was a liar, and I did not like Patrick Murphy because of all those other reasons he was a Democrat. So, you know, so those are the reasons why I jumped in. So I could get a feeling of what it would be like. I knew I wasn't gonna win, but what I did do is spend $17,000 of some donations and some money, and some of my own money, and I got 52,000 votes in the state of Florida as a no-party affiliate because they didn't like the other candidates that were up there. But understand there were 5 no-party affiliates that were there. So, and they all spent hundreds of thousands, if not millions, to try and beat me. The next one closer to me was 44,000. I did that for the reason that why we're all here now, is we want a person in government who is a non-establishment, who's not tied to the party, who's only tied to the people. That's the important thing. That's why Donald Trump did it. That's why I'm here. I'm here as your #1 pro-Trump candidate. There's nobody that's going to be more like me as for Trump. And I love wearing this hat. So if you don't mind, I am going to throw this hat on. Even though we're inside, okay, I'm throwing this hat on. This was given to me by a guy named Don Bound, who has the Red Hats for Trump Club. It's great to have this on, and it's great to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bruce, what are your top 3 goals as governor?
Top 3 goals, the number one for me, okay, number 1 and 2 are kind of pushed together. When we have our economy, okay, and we have healthcare, both of them can be tied together, and I'm going to tell you why. I am the only candidate, not only the only candidate, I am the only person in the United States of America who has a provisional patent on a healthcare system called We the People Healthcare. I am the founder and inventor of this health system, which is capitalistic by nature, which will make it so that each person in this room can get onto this health system, and it will be the most comprehensive health system for every person there. Totally affordable, and nobody is left out. For the American citizen. It is a nonprofit, co-op, everybody owns it. Not a single payer. I want to be very clear, not a single payer. Manufacturers are involved, farmers are involved, everybody's involved in this program. That's going to create the biggest economic boom that we're going to see in the United States of America in any of our lifetimes. Because this is so comprehensive. I've been working on this for years, but I finally put it together. I've got a team working on this right now. I've got a Brad Parscale, Donald Trump type digital marketing team working with me right now on my campaign and on this We the People healthcare. So economy and healthcare is tied together. Just so you know, healthcare is the #1 industry in our country. That's going to be for the future. People who are becoming nurses, doctors, and CNAs, anything to do with the healthcare profession, they are the #1 people that are going to have a job in the future. This is what we need. We need people to be able to take care of people. I'm a physical therapist. That's what I've done for my life. I've gone into thousands of homes to see people, to make sure that they're okay. One-on-one with the people, create the solution to their problem, and then I walk out. And that's what I do as a physical therapist. So, and have a treatment plan. So that's 2 of those things. Third thing is education. Being that I have 6 kids, okay, 3 are in college. 1, I see the Gator. I'm gonna go see him right after this. He's up at UF, okay? He's ROTC, my only boy out of my 5 kids, out of my 6 kids. Only boy, one more second. He's up at UF on an ROTC scholarship. He just put in an application to hopefully get into West Point. But right now he's a Gator. But the whole idea is education. We have to get rid of Common Core. We have to bring the education level back to where it's supposed to be. Back to the counties, back to the schools, back to the teachers, away from federalization and socialization.
Bruce, will you please list 3 things you'd cut from the governor's budget?
Employees is #1, so that's the #1 thing that has to go. There's way too many employees that's on the governor's list right now that's there, but that's statewide. It's not just in Tallahassee, it's throughout the state. So that's probably the biggest thing that has to get cut from the budget. Other things that are on the budget just have to get revamped. Where I live right now, they're spending, they say they're spending, okay, somewhere close to $8 billion on this Everglades project. We don't know where that money is, where it's going, or what it's going to do. Where I live, specifically in Martin County, they have this thing called the Legacy Project, where they're spending $200 million. Again, we don't know where that money is going or how it's doing. This is what we need to do, without being very specific or taking more things specifically. Within the first 60 days, I'm gonna get forensic CPAs all over the books.
Right.
We're gonna find out where the money is. That's the only way we can really see what has to be cut, or where's the money going. If we don't do that, then we might as well just have an open bank account and just keep writing checks. That's the first 60 days in my administration to make sure that we are going to have not only a balanced budget, but to cut the waste, cut the spending, and that's just way out of control. And that's what I'm going to be doing.
Thank you. Bruce, what are your thoughts regarding programs such as Enterprise Florida that attract businesses, tourism, and residents to our state?
I'm not a fan of Enterprise Florida. There was no reason for us to spend money there. We have the most beautiful state in the nation, in the world. I mean, we live in a place, people come from around the world to come here. We don't have to advertise for them to come here. Florida advertises itself just by the people who live here, people that are in this room. You love Florida. You talk to people all around the country. And everybody knows Florida. Everybody has somebody who lives in Florida. There's no reason to spend that kind of money. I was totally against that whole thing. And the money that's going from there into some people's pockets too, that's just wrong as well. So Enterprise Florida is a nonsensical thing.
Thank you. Bruce, regarding the devastation in Puerto Rico, will you explain what involvement the governor's office has had to date, if you're aware of that? And what do you see as your involvement for those relocating to Florida?
Yeah, I don't know what the real numbers are. We see fake news all the time, and we're seeing a lot of fake numbers. Again, you have to get up there. One of the reasons I'm running for governor, people go, well, why didn't you run for county commission first? Because the corruption's down there. You can't change the corruption in the county commission unless you go to the top. You have to go to the top to find out where the corruption is, to get it all out. Right. Donald Trump, the same idea with Donald Trump. That's why you're all here. He had that exact same idea. He couldn't just become even just a governor or just a senator, not that he would want to, because then he's just part of that mix. You got to get to the top. Your state's rights are #1 in our Constitution, the 10th Amendment. I'm standing right on it every day. And we have to make sure that we have that 10th Amendment to be able to flush out all the problems that are here. So if we don't do that, that's the ultimate in our problems with the state that we live in right now. So I don't know if I really answered that whole question, but that was kind of my gist.
Thank you. Bruce, what are your stance on sanctuary cities?
Closed. And that's another thing. If you look on my cards here, I used to be, this is the 770 plan, but now in 60 days, within 60 days, I am boots on the ground, okay, in several sanctuary cities. One is just 20 minutes to my south in Jupiter, Florida. So where there's supposedly somewhere between 2,000 and 4,000 refugees living there.
Where? I'm sorry, where?
Jupiter, Florida.
Okay.
So that's a problem. And they got brought in under cover of the night, and they're not supposed to be here. So what happens is we bring the buses in. They're going to get on the buses. We're going to take them up to Washington, and we're going to put them right in front of Obama's house. And we're going to let them out and say, here you go, pal. Have them back and send them wherever you want to send them. Sanctuary cities need to be closed. They will be illegal in this state.
Can you do that?
Absolutely.
Oh, sure you can.
As a governor, you better believe it. It should have been done already. And let me just tell you, anybody else who's running, who's already in politics, and you probably know some names that are coming up, they could have done this. They didn't.
What cost will that be to us?
Well, it shouldn't be very much cost to us because,
What's very much?
well, because the federal government got them here, so the federal government's going to get a bill.
At the cost of the taxpayer.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't worry. It's going to be very, very small.
In essence of time, I'm going to ask that we don't ask questions now because I've got to ask each candidate the same questions.
I can talk to you after.
That's what I would like to see, do one-on-one with each other.
Okay.
Thank you. What changes, if any, Bruce, would you support to the federal FEMA program?
Well, there's a question. FEMA, look, I'm running for governor. So as a governor, what changes can I do? That's the question. As a governor, I'm running the state. That's federally owned, that's federally managed, that's federally run. Not happy with FEMA. Talk about waste. Then we have a huge amount of waste. I heard about all these RVs and trailers that are still sitting somewhere from hurricanes years ago, not even from Irma. And they sat there and they rotted, and this is what happened. This is where the federal government spends their money. So, not a fan of the federal government and where they spend their money, because it is an incremental amount of waste. So, we budget for here in Florida. We make sure here in Florida is going to get the money that needs to be spent, especially during times of disaster.
Bruce, regarding the environment, what is your stand on offshore drilling and water rights? Two parts. No offshore drilling. They already went through this about a week or two ago. The Republicans actually did say they were going to try and bring back offshore drilling, but I think it was Trump and the governor both said no, we cannot have offshore drilling. So we should have no offshore drilling, as well as I have a belief in fracking, but not in this state. There can be no fracking in the state of Florida. We have aquifers here that are extremely delicate. Our beds and our layers that go up like this and that create our clean water, they are extremely delicate. We start messing with that, we better find another place to live. So environment is one of the key. I'm glad you brought that up, because that's one of the key things for me. Because when I came here a while back, a long time ago, in 2000, and I lived near Lake Okeechobee, and I found out on the paper that was the most polluted lake in America. It said in the paper. My heart fell to my stomach. I couldn't take it. That made me so upset. But that's the way the whole state is run. Nobody's cared about the environment in this state. So going from all the way from where we're close to is the green swamp right here, which just should be the 500,000 acres, that's the green swamp. That needs to be a land that's just a preserve. We need to leave that alone, because that's actually where the top of our aquifer is, and that's where it all falls south. That's number one. Number two is making sure that the fertilizers that are used are going to be organically maintained. That's part of the problem that's leaching into our water, creating the further problem that's going on through where I live, the blue-green toxic algae. That's a problem. I will be all over that. And the GMOs, I'm a very big non-GMO person, very natural and health-oriented, because I'm a physical therapist. This is how I've lived my life. Very, very important that we stop with these GMOs, because they're the ones that are using these fertilizations that are leaching into our waters, that are creating all the other problems, not only for our environment, but for our children. And our children are eating those foods that are extremely bad for them. And we don't know, we will know because of my We the People healthcare, what's causing that major problem. That problem is intense, and we have to stop it immediately. This is our last question. What policies or programs of Trump's do you support? This is a Trump Club of Marion County, so I think this is a pretty fitting question.
Good, I love that question. I really support, there hasn't been one thing that Donald Trump has put out that I haven't supported. The only thing that people are talking about that's problematic right now is DACA. And DACA is really more of a federal issue, bringing it locally, which I think as a healthcare practitioner, which you guys might like or might not like, but this is the way I feel it should go, because some of the people that have been brought over in DACA, some are criminals and they gotta go. We deport everybody who's in DACA or been in DACA, and as a criminal, they're out. If they're a first responder, if they've done the right thing by our country, if they've fought in the Army, if they got into the Army and they were able to fight, or any of our military, then we have to find a way, they don't get citizenship, absolutely not. Legalization, only if they've been doing the right thing. Remember, they didn't get brought in there on their own will, their parents brought them in. So that's where Trump's problem is, I think, right now, is he sees that same problem with, I think it's 1.8 million. He sees that same problem, and he doesn't know really what to do with that, but that becomes a holding pattern for him. But like I said, I've been on board with every single thing that he's done. I'm not a tweeter, just so you know, I'm not big on tweeting. So that's not that I'm not a fan, but I'm not a tweeter. I do more Facebook stuff, because I understand it more, and I didn't even do that until 2 years ago. So I don't think any of us really did that until just a short time ago. So, but Donald Trump and his family My daughter met Laura Trump actually not too long ago. She had a great time meeting her because she went to the Turning Point USA conservative movement down in West Palm Beach. So, and I love that she went and did that. My daughter, just so you know, she's at the Maritime Academy up in New York in the Bronx. So, so that's it's really all about family, and that's why Donald Trump did this. We all know. I don't have to sell you on this. He's the billionaire. He didn't have to do this. He didn't have to come forward and do this, but he did. He did, and he did it for all of us, and we are so happy that he did that, because that gives us all footing on the ground to be able to talk to each other at these clubs like this, and that's really nice. Thank you.
Could you shut that door? We're getting a lot of,
Bruce, you've done remarkably well. We're going to try to make it so you got 3 minutes closing, not just a minute, but it all helps. If you have something you want to tell the group, please.
Okay. Well, like I told you about the family, so let me start from the top. My oldest daughter, 27 years old, she's adopted. She's one of the youngest doctors that's ever graduated over in Lecom. I don't know if you know where that is. That's in Bradenton. She's out in Vegas now. She actually helped to treat some of the people that were shot in the Vegas shooting not too long ago. So she's the number one. So number two, Tess, Maritime Academy. She just got actually advanced into a cruise program. If you know the Maritime, you know the Maritime's a subsidiary of the Navy. So she's well into the Navy now, and she's just got accepted to go to this worldwide cruise for 90 days around the globe. Scares me a little, but that's okay. She's also, and Brock, who's my only son, number one son, UF, ROTC scholarship. Very proud of him. He's just, he's a great kid, but he's a person that really likes the military, wants to stay in the military. That's because I'm a veteran. That's because I'm a United States Army veteran. They saw me come home in my BDUs. So they had that feeling of wanting to be able to protect this country. So I've pushed in the right direction for my children. And that's what we all need to do. We need to push in the right direction for not only for our children, but for other people around you, for everybody you see. You know, you come up there with the Trump hat or whatever, some people look at you, some people say nice hat. You know, some people say nothing at all, or some people have a bad comment. But we want to try and bring them all in, because this is what America is made of. This is what it's all about. And if we don't do this, and we don't do it fast, we're in trouble. I've got an 11-year-old too, an 8-year-old and a 7-year-old. They're all the girls. And they're having a great old time. My 8-year-old's actually an entrepreneur. She's starting to think of a whole business. It's incredible what these kids can do if we educate them and we push them and we make them do what needs to get done. That's the important thing. That's what our lives are about. That's where we're trying to go in our world. And as a medical practitioner in the Army, it was really a very enlightening thing that happened to me through all the time I was with my unit. So everything that I've done, and I went in right after 9/11, just so you know, because that was the important thing to me. I saw this country hurting at that time and needing somebody to do something. So 9/11 September, by 10 of 2011, I had already gone in. By 11/11, I was a lieutenant in the United States Army. That's how fast we pushed it along, because I thought it was just that important to go in. So we have to do that as people in this country. As Trumpers, we are here to make sure that we do that. And I would hope that each of you would not only vote for me, because you'll never see a governor like me in the history of the state of Florida for the last 100 years. Doesn't matter who it is. Because my ideas and the things that I'm doing are way different than anybody else. I am an inventor now of something that's going to help each and every one of you in this room. You don't even know it yet. You're in the forefront of something. It's like the guy from Amazon standing here in front of you 30 years ago saying, I'm going to invent something called Amazon. Oh, sure. That's me. I'm here now. You don't believe it, but I'm here now. And I'm going to be your next governor because of that reason. Because I want to make sure the people of the state of Florida are going to get what they need. It's very important, because we have children that need to sustain this world, and that's really what I'm here for, is the children and the people in the state of Florida. Thank you very much.